Hey, so we are going to start on the next little part of the pH scale, and that lovely thing is called pOH. Wow, fancy. So it's still just a scale. It's essentially the same thing. It still goes from 0 all the way to 14. 7 still in the middle. But the difference here is crazy. And it says from 7 to 14, we're going to call these things an acid. And then from 0 to 7, we're going to say, hey, that's a base. Recall the pH scale. I'm going to do it in yellow. So here we have pH, our friend, and the scale, who also goes from 0 to 14, with 7 right in the middle. And we said from 0 to 7, we're going to call this stuff acid. And anything above 7 is going to be a base. So hopefully it's more apparent now that the pOH scale is the exact opposite of pH. That's why I'm doing this one with a black background instead of a white background, because black and white are opposites. So hopefully that helps you remember that they're opposites of one another. And just like pH measured how acidic something is, the opposite of an acid is a base. So pOH tells us how basic something is. So how basic a substance is. All right. And whenever you hear the word base, I want you to think in your big brain, OH. And OH is the same thing as a hydroxide or a hydroxide ion. And remember, ion just means something with a charge. So here it's negative. Another way that acids and bases are opposites of each other. This is just like a little side note. Acids are positive and bases are negative. Sometimes, not always, but for these purposes, we'll say that that's true. So OH is the opposite of pH. Okay? Now let's get into our first math problem. So it says, what is pOH if OH is 3.27 times 10 to the negative 9? All right, so let me tell you the formula we're going to use. It's the exact same as the pH one. But instead of pH, we're going to say pOH is equal to the negative log of OH. Now, this negative sign on OH is talking about the hydroxide ion being negative, not that this number is negative. So don't let this trip you up. Okay? So I can just simply plug this into my formula, nice and easy. pOH, which we don't know, so I'm just going to leave it like that, is equal to the negative log of 3.27 times 10 to the negative 9. You're going to go to Google, you're going to type in scientific calculator, and you're going to say negative log of a number I already forgot, 3.27 times 10 to the negative 9 times 10 to the negative 9. And then we're going to press enter and we get 8.4. So we're going to say pOH equals 8.4. Just like how I asked you last time, does this make any dang sense? Well, the pOH scale goes from 0 all the way to 14. and right in the middle is 7. Is 8.4 between 0 and 14? I would say so. It's a probably maybe right there. Okay, great. Now, is it an acid or a base? If you recall from the last thing we just talked about, anything above 7 for the pOH scale is an acid. So this substance is acidic. We did it. All right, let's move on. Ooh, what is the pH? If pOH is 8.6. Let me give you a new formula. Are you ready? I don't know if you can handle it. Let's see. pH plus pOH is equal to 14. Since we know the scales are opposite and they both equal 14, this statement will always be true. So we know pH is what we're looking for, and pOH equals 8.6. So let's plug it into our equation. pH plus 8.6 equals 14. This is important. Maybe write that down somewhere. All right, so I want to get pH by itself, but this 8.6 is in the way. We're going to move it by subtracting 8.6 from both sides. So pH equals, go to your calculator and do 14 minus 8.6. Your answer should be 5.4. Sweet. Does that make sense? Is it between 0 and 14? Check. Is it an acid or a base? Well, pOH, we said we got bases over here and we got acid over here, if this is 0 and this is 14. But this is saying pH. pH, if we have 0 over here and 14 over here, we have acid and we have base. So this indeed would be an acid. Alrighty. Our next problem says, sorry, let me pick a fun color. Okay. What is the H plus if OH is 6.73 times 10 to the negative 5? All right, so let me tell you yet another formula. And that formula is H plus times OH minus will equal 1.0 times 10 to the negative 14. Okay? So, since we now know this beautiful formula, I'm going to write down the variables that I know. H plus, we don't know. OH minus equals 6.73 times 10 to the negative 5. All right, now I can just plug this into my equation. So, we'll work over here. H plus, nothing happened to it because we don't know what it is. And then OH is 6.73 times 10 to the negative 5. And this equation will equal 1.0 times 10 to the negative 14. I know these brackets look a little confusing, but all we're doing is multiplying. So I need to get H plus by itself, and the way I'm going to do that is by dividing both sides by 6.73 times 10 to the negative 5. Gotta do that to both sides. This is just simple algebra. Okay. So Those will cancel. Goodbye. And we're left with this. So I'm going to go over to my handy dandy calculator and type this in. So we have parentheses are super important right now because we have scientific notation. 1.0 times 10 to the negative 14 divided by, more parentheses, 6.73 times 10 to the negative 5. Close your parentheses. Everything looks beautiful. Press enter. All right, so our answer is 1.4 times 10 to the negative 10. 1.4? Is that what it's? Oh my gosh, why can't I not remember? Yes, 1.48 times 10 to the negative 10. And you're done. Bada bing. Alrighty, moving forward. Okay, so we're getting to a more complicated type of problem. It says, what is pOH if H plus is that? 2.17 times 10 to the negative 5. So, I'm sure you realize pOH has OH. pH has H. Right here we're given H. That's not the same thing as OH. So let's recap all of the formulas that we have learned so far. We know pH is equal to the negative log of H plus. We know 10 to the power of a negative pH will give us H plus. We know pOH is equal to the negative log of OH. We know 10 to the negative pOH will give us OH. We know H plus times OH minus will equal 1 times 10 to the negative 14. And we know pH plus pOH will equal 14. Okay, so I know H plus, and it equals 2.17 times 10 to the negative 5. And I want pOH, but let's start here first. Well, we got a couple formulas that talk about H plus. This one we can plug in H plus 2. This one we cannot plug H plus into because this would be challenging math, and it's not something we need to be concerned about. And then this one has H plus. This one's division, that one's fair to use, and this one is also fair game. I'm going to use the top one, but that you can use the other one. That's completely fine. So I'm going to say pH is equal to the negative log of 2.17 times 10 to the negative 5. I'm going to go to our calculator, and I'm going to already forget what I'm supposed to do. Negative log of, see what I tell you, 2.17 times 10 to the negative 5. I'm going to press enter, and I get 4.6. So pH equals 4.6. But we want pOH. This is what we want. So I think I remember we talked about pH and pOH equal 14. This is good because we know pH, and this is what we want. So let's plug it in. 4.6 plus pOH equals 14. Subtract 4.6 from both sides. Let's see, 14 minus 4.6. 9.4 is your final answer, and you are done. Alrighty. Hope that was helpful. Good luck, everybody. Bye-bye.